Hey guys. So, just a heads up. The lawn was mowed today and I have had sneezing fits all night. So, if I just mute out of nowhere, it's probably because I'm having a little sneezing fit real quick and I will be right back. But other than that, we're good. So tonight I'm going to cover Ebby Steppach. I think I'm saying that right. My friend is from near the area where this happened, and she is very passionate about this case and brought it to me. So I got very into it myself, and I thought it would be a good case to raise awareness for. So I'll be talking about that. And what a terrible tragedy with the Texas situation. I'm not going to cover that just because I don't want to cover anything about, I don't want to give that guy any screen time. I feel terrible, and it's such a terrible situation, a sad situation. Nobody should fear sending their kids to school. It's a really shitty time that we live in that somebody could even do that or fathom hurting a child, and I can't even cover it. It makes me too emotional. Hey, Annalise. So, I'll get way too emotional over it. So I don't want to cover anything about that, but I do. It's really sad, and it's a shame that it's like this. And I believe people still should be able to carry, but I think they should make it more difficult for people to be able to obtain assault rifles here. I wish they would do the same that they do for handguns, you know, and it's really sad, but yeah, I can't even go there thinking about it either. I don't want to cover that at all. I would get way too emotional because it has to do with children, innocent children, and it's just like, it's making me emotional right now even thinking about it. But the fact that somebody could even hurt an innocent child is just terrible, and it's scary to even send your kids to school nowadays. But let's talk about this case. So, I did not really have. Hey, Queen. I did not really have that much time to prepare, so I'm just totally gonna wait. I mean, I have notes because I've been going over this case for like a whole week, and I'm gonna play some clips from Dr. Phil too. But all right, so let me get started. Ebby Jane Steppach was an 18-year-old high school student. Hold on, my phone's going off. Sorry, guys. Okay. Ebby Steppach was an 18-year-old high school student in Little Rock, Arkansas, who was completing her senior year at Little Rock Central High School. She had previously attended a private school, but transferred to a public school that year. Wanting independence from her parents, she decided to move out of her family's home at the beginning of the school year. So she was, yeah, it's actually a really good case. Sarah was the one who got me into this. She was living with her mom, and they were just like not getting along and arguing. And they said that she had like changed a little bit when she switched schools. Like she wanted to go to that school, but when she did, she started hanging out with different people, and she had changed a lot. So she was staying at her grandparents' house mainly, but she would also crash at some of her. Yes, very pretty OG fish. Hi, the OG fish. She would stay at her grandparents' house most of the time, but at other times she had stayed with her friends. I do have her one friend's name. I'll get to it. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's in my notes somewhere. But she would stay at her other friend's house. I think her other friend was from her old school, and she would often crash there. So on October 21st, 2015, Steppach missed school. On Friday, October 23rd, she attended a party at some point during the evening. The following day, October 24th, 2015, Steppach arrived at her mother's home and informed her stepfather that she had been gang RAPED. I don't want to say that word on YouTube, but yeah, by 4 individuals at a party who wanted to report the incident to authorities. She also alleged that the RAPE had been recorded on a cell phone. Later that evening, when Steppach's mother, Laurie Jernigan, and stepfather attempted to reach her by phone, they got no response. Her stepfather suspected she had gone to retrieve the video of her RAPE. That evening, 2 brief calls lasting approximately 1 minute were placed to Little Rock Police Department from Steppach's cell phone. So before I continue on, just to give you a little bit of context, Ebby reached out to her stepfather, and she asked her stepfather to help her go through the process of reporting the RAPE. And he said that he would, but she didn't want her mother to know at the time. Where was it? She didn't want her mom to know at the time, so she asked him, and he was going to go with her. She was going to go with her, or he was going to go with her to report it. So that evening, 2 brief calls lasting approximately 1 minute were placed to the Little Rock Police Department from Steppach's cell phone, though the police department would state they had no record of receiving a report. Throughout the evening, cell phone records showed Steppach sent texts to several other men she had implicated in her RAPE, threatening to report them to the police. So she was texting them saying, like, you know, I'm gonna report you to the police. Like, I know you have a video. Let me take a sip of my drink real quick. So the last person that she was in contact, hey Molly Lollipops, the last person that she was in contact with was her older brother, Trevor, around 2 p.m. on the 25th, which was the day that she went missing. Trevor described her as seeming disoriented during their conversation. She initially told him she was parked outside his house, but upon hanging up and walking out to the street, he did not see her car. When he called back, she answered, this time telling him she was in her car but was unsure where she was parked. After she told him, I'm effed up, the phone call ended. This was the last known contact that anyone had with her. So she basically, he said that she sounded like very disoriented and confused, and that she didn't seem like she knew where she was. And she said she was outside, but she wasn't outside, and then she told him she was effed up. On October 27th, 2 days later, Steppach's 2003 Volkswagen Passat was discovered by a security guard abandoned in a parking lot near a wooded area in Shalamont Park, a neighborhood park in West Little Rock. The security guard notified police and waited approximately 2 hours for an officer to arrive. However, none did. The next day, after seeing the vehicle still there as he did his rounds, he once again called and waited for the police, who finally arrived around an hour later and discovered it belonged to Steppach. The car had an empty gas tank as well as a dead battery, and the keys had been left in the ignition. So the security guard's a little shady too. They looked into him, and I believe he wasn't the one who called in the car. I think it was the neighbor, but he told people that he had called it in, if I remember correctly. I'm going to read through my notes too, so I know I have that in there. But I'm pretty sure the neighbor was the one to call, and he said that he had a dash cam and that he had seen her in the park several times with a guy or several different guys. And that this particular night, I don't know if he like didn't record or he didn't upload it to his computer and it got overwritten, but he said, which I thought was a little weird too, that he would upload his dash cam to his computer every single night. I just don't understand why some like neighborhood park security guard would need to do all that, but I mean, it is a little odd to me. Like, why would some park security guard be saving videos of his dash cam every day? But there is some weird. Let me see if I can find it in my notes right now. But there is some weird stuff with him. I think I'm just gonna have to read all my notes to you guys because it's so much. Yeah, I'm gonna just have to go through my notes after I explain the like read this to you. So several searches of yes, Thumb Thug is very sad. It is very interesting though because there's so many like twists and turns. You don't really know like what happened to her. So several searches of Shalamont Park were undertaken after the discovery of Steppach's car, though no additional evidence was found in the surrounding woods. Per a 2017 report, the men Steppach had accused of sexual assault had all spoken to police, though no formal searches of their cell phones were done for the alleged video of Steppach's rape. Oh, I didn't mean to say that damn word. All right, I'm gonna have to be more. I'm just reading and not even looking. I'm gonna have to be more. In an attempt to bring publicity to her case, Steppach's mother and brother Trevor appeared on Dr. Phil in December of 2017. I do have Dr. Phil clips. I think they just recently were on there too. The Steppach family offered a reward of $50,000 with information leading to their daughter's discovery. Discovery of the body around 10 a.m. on May 24th, 2018. So this is years later. This is like, what, 3.5 years later? While performing another search of Shalamont Park, police discovered skeletal remains in a drainage pipe in the vicinity where Steppach's car had been discovered. These remains were subsequently confirmed to be those of Steppach. Extensive searches for Steppach at Shalamont Park had been held in the past. Margie Foley, a family friend and mother of Steppach's best friends, claimed she had smelled decomp while doing a private search of the area and alerted authorities. That is true. There is actually a 911 call that I heard where one of Ebby's best friends and her mom went to the park to do their own search to see if they could find anything because her friend was just like, really upset about it. And they went by this sewer pipe and they could smell decomposition. So she called the police and told them that she could smell it and they didn't do anything about it. And they literally have the 911 call. There's a podcast. What is the podcast called? Hold on a second. Let me get it for you. They play the 911 call in the podcast. Podcast. I'll find it. It's called like Hell something. I can't remember the name of it. It's Hell. Something with hell in it. Yeah, they made a lot of errors for sure. The police. Thumb Thug, do you remember the name of that podcast? It has the word hell in it, but I can't. Let me look at my phone because that's where I found it before. Ebby Steppach. But on this podcast, Hell and Gone. That's the podcast name. Yes, To Hell and Gone. They play the 911 call, and they did a call like literally days after she went missing, and they didn't even look. They assured her that it was an animal or something. So they could have found her in that pipe like way before then, and they didn't. I'm gonna play like a little clip from Dr. Phil, so you guys have like an idea. I don't know if this is the lady from the podcast, but it'd be interesting if it is, because I know the lady from the podcast actually tried to crawl into the sewer, so they do this in a clip, so I thought it might be her, but let me get this ready for you. Will he strike me? Oh, damn it. All right, I won't play it. All right, let me see if I can find something else. Oh, you did it and they did it to you? Oh, that's so stupid. What's the point of having it up like the clips on the news? Wonder if somebody else has it on their channel. Do you think I could play it from somebody else's? No, it's all Dr. Phil. All right, forget it. I don't want to get shut down. All right, so where was I? All right, so they say that social media and cellular data was mishandled by the police, and they took Ebby's car in for processing. And at like when they found her car, and then Ebby's family scoured her accounts for any clues. Laurie, her mom was like a pit bull, and she kept bugging and bugging like the sergeant to give them information and have meetings. And they were like really mean to her. They kept getting annoyed with her and excluding her from meetings. So because they didn't like how she was, kind of telling them how to do their job almost. Like they didn't even like subpoena people's phone records and stuff. Like all the men. Hi, hooligan Jennifer. Sorry, I just seen you. So they didn't even subpoena the phone records of all these guys who supposedly had to do with her rape, and she literally had to like send them instructions from Google on how to go about getting a warrant to subpoena the Facebook info and the like the phone conversations and stuff like that. And they were getting annoyed with her because she was telling them how to do her job. And then finally they reached out to an ex-PD officer who was very helpful with them, and then that guy reached out to the police department to offer his help because he was like very knowledgeable on that stuff, and they told him no. So then they got a victim's advocate, and she was really mad about how the police department was treating her. Oh, and so all right, so another thing they got mad about was Laurie's son wanted to change the password in her Facebook account. So what happened is they couldn't get in her Facebook account. So that, you know how like when you can't get in a Facebook account, you do like a reset your password from a phone and then you're able to change the password? Well, they wanted to do that so they could get into her Facebook account because the police couldn't figure out how to get into the Facebook account. So they got mad because the cops were saying that they weren't allowed to touch anything, and that if they touch her stuff, her social media, they could be messing with evidence. So they wouldn't let him change the password even for a minute. And when that happened, that's when they started kicking them out of the meetings. And the police were looking at Michael, her stepfather, for like the longest time. Like they were like suspicious of Michael. And Michael felt that like he had to go get a lawyer by the way they were like treating him, when obviously Michael had nothing to do with it. So the cell phone data comes from their network provider. They wanted them to subpoena the detail records. They get a lead request for call detail records for the number she called to place them in the same spot. They didn't do any of that. Weeks after November 3rd, 2015, and this is the woman who calls 911. I'm reading off my notes, guys. So the woman and daughter, friends with Ebby, they were walking around the park looking for her, and as they passed the sewer, they smelled decomp. After 911, they asked 911 to send somebody to investigate, and police brushed off their concerns. This is where the body was found 3 years later. And then Monty Vickers, I think he was a PI. So they hired like a PI or a guy who, he might have been the guy who took over when it became, who was a PI who tried to help him. And then he told them that the worst thing you can do is say you're a PI, because no police departments ever want to deal with people who are PIs. He was deeply, yeah, they reached out to this guy. So he was deeply troubled by Ebby's case. There was CCT. They had options to find CCT footage of her because her phone wasn't on and she needed Wi-Fi to text people. So she would go sit in the Walmart and connect to their Wi-Fi, and they could literally track her movements through CCTV because of that, and they never subpoenaed any of the CCTV information either. So that was a big deal. Guy Hopper. Okay, so this is the security guard. He was a security guard for Shalimont Park. Marty, the PI, was shocked when Guy says he was the first to approach him about the case. So the PI went and knocked on this guy's door because he knew that he was the park security guard, and the security guard, Guy Hopper, said to Monty, "Wow, you're the first person who's ever reached out to me about the case. Like, you're the first person who's ever reached out to me," which is really bizarre because this guy was the security guard for the park, was there every night, and nobody ever reached out to him. He says he called the police multiple times about Ebby's car, and they never responded. She showed up before with a small young black male. He had dash cam footage he would download to the computer every night. All the footage was lost when his computer broke. Monty tells the police, and they never do anything. Ebby sent a text to Gage saying she was... Alright, so I guess this is her friend, saying that she was SA'd by several men, and they videotaped it. Monty called the deputy prosecutor, who went to the sheriff, and the sheriff... Alright, so basically, this gets even crazier. So Monty, the PI, called the prosecutor and said, "We know that she talked to these guys. You know what I mean? Like, we know she had conversations, and she sent them texts about SAing her. So why have they not subpoenaed their phones? Because that's plenty of probable cause to subpoena their phones." And the prosecutor went to the sheriff, and the sheriff told the prosecutor, "You don't have enough information. Like, there's not enough probable cause," which is insane. That's so not true. There's plenty of probable cause. So I don't know how that even like, it's like the sheriff just did not want to care about. Yeah, I'm side-eyeing Guy Hopper too, Thumb Thug. Definitely side-eyeing him. So Laurie gets a meeting with everyone, and they were mad that she emailed the chief. She emailed the chief and said, "Why can't you get a subpoena?" And they said not enough probable cause, but they were mad at her because she went above them. They don't know who killed her, Matt Hova. They don't know who killed her. It could have been the security guard. It could have been one of the 3 or 4 guys who RAPED her. Um, there's a number of people that it could have been, and they screwed up the case so bad. I don't think they will ever know. But so they got mad at Laurie because she went above them and messaged the chief, and then they got in trouble by the chief. In a nutshell. So they go to Nancy Grace, and it causes more issues. They're worried about taking complaints further, but file a complaint anyway. So they worried about taking a complaint. They're worried about filing complaints with the police officers because they didn't want to piss them off more, I guess. But they did anyway. And they answer back and says there's not enough evidence to prove. But I believe Roy Williams, he was the sheriff. He gets booted as sheriff, and they get a new guy named Tommy Hudson. Tommy Hudson says the police department screwed it up. Only superficial phone stuff. I don't know what that means. I just wrote it down. Monty Vickers suggested to go in that drain pipe. FBI, I guess the FBI gets involved. They go where her car. Wait, her car was hit in obstruction. 7 foot down. Okay, so her car, where she parked, was right near a drain hole. And this drainage hole, when they opened it and went inside, they found her body stuck in the drain pipe, like halfway down. But they believe that over time, the water and stuff had slid her body down further. Yes, definitely one of the worst police departments in history ever. I mean, you literally have somebody telling them that they smell decomposition and they don't go and look there and do anything about it. And if they had done that, they would have found her body right away. Her car was parked right next to the sewer. And then, wait, where did it go? So it's positively identified as Ebby, and they have a press conference, and in the press conference, you can see the manhole. Let me see if I can find the press conference for you guys, and I'll play it so you guys can kind of have an idea. Abby's mother speaks out after remains are found. Where is this? I'm trying to see what I can play that will get me struck. So bear with me, y'all. There's an ad here. All right. While that ad's running, I'm going to keep reading. So, Laurie and Peter were her parents. They were both hairstylists, and they wanted, and Ebby's dream was to be a cosmetologist. She was a child of divorce, and she was still, I guess, dealing with, like, every kid whose parent gets divorced, the inner conflict that you have to deal with. Where they lived, they said, looked kind of like the Ozarks. Like that's how, like, lots of gated communities, lakes, pools up. So this is this is my notes from the podcast. So the lady from the podcast pulls up to Laura's house in the community. They have moved since she went missing. The mom said she clashed when she was in her teens. She was in a rebellious state. She was naive and fierce. She started working at a Foot Locker and hanging out with new friends. Then she went to a private school but transferred to Little Rock Central High. So that's like or she kind of changed her friend group, stuff like that. Oh man, all I could find is Dr. Phil stuff. Alright. She was being bad and skipping school and staying out late. They told her if she didn't change, she would have to move out, and so she did and stayed with grandparents and her friend Danielle. That was the girl's name. There was talks for Ebby to move back and shape up, but it never happened. Danielle didn't know why Ebby wanted to transfer. She told Danielle right before she went missing that she was going to a friend's house, but she would come back, and she never came back. And that was the last time Danielle had seen her. Ebby told Danielle she was going to a party on November 3rd and asked if she wanted to come, but Danielle said no. Piecing together what happened, Ebby was not gang RAPED. Ebby went out with a male friend from Central High. They went to the house of another friend. It wasn't really a party. It was Ebby, the male friend she was with, the male they went to see, and two other guys. We won't know exactly what happened, but piecing together the texts show it was a consensual sexual encounter with one guy. Then she thought he was videotaping her without permission. So basically, she was having like a consensual moment with this guy, and mid-moment, she suddenly thinks that he's videotaping her and gets really upset about it. Without permission. Ebby gets angry and texts her friend Gage and said that she was with a guy and smoked, and he effing recorded me, dude, when I wasn't looking. Ebby made it to Trevor's. She was there Saturday morning, so she went to her brother's house. I'm pretty sure her brother's name was Trevor. And she was there till Saturday morning. Ebby and her mom were not communicating. Trevor called and asked if Ebby could stay with mom because he didn't want to leave her alone. And the mom said no, because the mom had it up to here with Ebby. Like, she just wasn't listening to her and all that, so she wasn't going to let her back home until she straightened up. So the mom told her brother, no, she can't stay with me. That's too bad. So Danielle saw Ebby on Saturday, but she had to leave and said she would be back and never came back. She went to her grandparents. That's the next spot she went to. And then Michael, her stepfather, got a text from Ebby that said, "Don't tell mom I was RAPED and videotaped. I want you to come with me." She told her grandparents she was going to meet Michael. So she went to go meet Michael to, go to the police and report this. I lost my spot. Okay. On October 25th, 2015, Michael can't get in touch with her when they're supposed to go. He wasn't panicked yet, but couldn't get a hold of her, and she wasn't with Danielle. Then people started to get worried because she wasn't answering. So Trevor dialed Ebby's phone Sunday at 5 p.m., but she didn't answer, and then she called back. Trevor freaks out. She's somewhere. So Trevor goes to the mom's house. He's freaking out and says, Ebby's somewhere. She's effed up. She can't talk. I don't know who she's with. She said she was out front of my house, but she's not. She doesn't know who she's with and where she is. And then he got off the phone and said, okay, like, let me look up your location or something like that. I'll call you right back. And then he called her back and she never answered again. But apparently she was very disoriented. And not acting right. So I mean, I think it would have been, the police were saying that she could have put herself down there, which I find very hard to believe, because if anyone's ever tried to lift up a manhole cover, they are not easy to lift up, and let alone put back over you. So like, once she got in the sewer, she would have had to move the manhole cover back over her on like a ladder. You know what I mean? So I just find it really fucking hard to believe that she got down this hole and put that manhole cover back over the hole to like hide that she went down there. I mean, if the manhole cover was off, I could believe, hey Britt, how are you? If the manhole cover was off, I could possibly believe that maybe she just crawled down there because she was like not right. But manhole covers are really, really heavy. So I don't know. I don't believe it. But according to law enforcement, all points bulletin on a car. Police told her they need to wait. Okay, so the family went to the cops and they're like, hey, we can't find her. We can't find her car. So the police told them they need to wait 12 hours. So apparently, Ebby's car today in park. It was gone. I don't know what that is. I don't know what I wrote. But all her stuff was in the car. Her makeup was scattered and broken everywhere. I haven't seen the photo of it, but I know, like, well, I seen it in the, like, I watched the press conference and I seen it behind the guy in the press conference because you could see it, and the manhole covers are just so heavy. I just don't believe that she was able to do that. I have trouble, like, I've tried to lift one up before and I had trouble just lifting it off. I mean, I'm a weak bitch, but still, this girl was probably not that much heavier than me. So I would imagine that it was probably very difficult for her to lift this manhole cover and then place it back over. I just find it really hard to believe. So when they found her car, her makeup was scattered and broken. So, you know, like when your powder makeup breaks and it's like broken all over everywhere, it was like that. And then they found a towel on the ground right next to her car, which I don't know if they ever did anything with the towel. Like, I got really far in the podcast, but I didn't finish it, so I don't remember if they ever mentioned if they did anything with the towel, like ran it for DNA, but there was definitely like a towel on the ground, I think by the back seat of her car. Yeah, and I work at a gym too, and I'm still a weak bitch. And I'm tiny. I'm like 5'2" and 112 pounds, and she looked like she was similar in size to me, so we're just gonna go with that. They never said what her cause of death was. And then Tommy Hudson, the guy who was actually kind of helpful, the sheriff, he left, and this guy, Bruce Maxwell, took over. So the storm drain was 5 feet long. So I guess it was one of those like 5 foot long, you know, where like, thank you, Britt. There's like a like 3-inch little area that lifts off the ground where the water flows in there. I would imagine it was like 5 feet long across. And then the manhole cover, you climb down 18 feet through a 3-foot opening. So they climbed down into this. So the lady in the podcast, this is the notes that I'm reading from the podcast notes. She climbs down. She actually gets into the sewer. And she tries to climb in the so you climb down, and then there's a hole that is in the side of the wall that I believe is like 18 feet underground and comes out on the other side of a hill on the other side of the park. If that makes sense. So, like, did you ever see when you're like at a park or something, there's like a hill with like a pipe in the side of the hill and you could like crawl in? Not that anyone would ever crawl in, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can actually look in there and crawl in if you want. It was like that, but like, I don't know if you'd be able to like walk in. You would have to crawl in, but so that's kind of like how it was. Where her car was, where's the opening? And then you go down a ladder, and then there's a hole in the wall. The lady from the podcast climbed down in it. But whoever killed her whoever killed her brought her down there and shoved her in the hole. And then her body got like flushed halfway through it, probably from like water and decomposition over time. So she was like in the middle of the pipe, maybe not in the middle, but closer to the end of the pipe at the park. I believe there was a diagram of it too. Let me see. See if I can find a diagram. They had like a whole. Let me see if I can find a picture. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen real quick. All right. So her car was parked over here, right? In this area somewhere. And here's like the little sewer thingy where the water flows in from the street into the sewer. And here's the manhole cover. Let me see if I can zoom in. There we go. And then the pipe travels underneath all this, under the trees, out to like a little tiny hill on the other side, and it opens there. So she was, I think it opens here, but she was somewhere like here. So yeah, very young. She was in high school still. I think she was in her senior year. Was it senior year? Either junior or senior year. Like just starting her senior year, I think. But yeah, she was very young. You know, I think you can't. I feel bad. Her mom probably lives with that guilt all the time that she didn't let her live there. But I feel like it was one of those situations where she was at. Oh yeah, she was 18 already. I'm pretty sure because I remember thinking like, wow, she was in high school and her mom kicked her out. But then when I looked into it further, I was pretty sure she was 18 at the time. So, and she was like living with her grandparents mostly, but she was still sleeping on neighbors' couches. I mean, not neighbors, friends' couches and stuff. So, the lady climbs down there, and she tries to climb through the hole in the wall, like to see how easily she would fit. And she got like up to like her waist in, and she couldn't go any further because she said the pipe just got narrower and narrower, and if she tried to go down further, she would get stuck and wouldn't be able to get herself back up because it went on like an angle, and she wouldn't be able to turn around. So she got scared, and they pulled her back up because she said it was too tight that she wouldn't be able to get herself back up. So obviously, I mean, at least in my opinion, somebody had to have climbed down there and threw her in that hole. I just, it maybe if she was in a normal condition, she would be able to pick that. Hey, Rhoda Gal. She would be able to pick that sewer lid up, but I just can't see her being so effed up and it like in some state like that and not be able to and be able to lift that up. Like she sounded very disoriented and all that. I just have a hard time imagining her being able to lift that up, climb down there, put it back over, then stuffing herself in some tube. Like just bizarre. I mean, I just have a hard time believing it. But so I think they had this company do an autopsy. They said that it was homicide or undetermined. That's like what they left it as, but they won't say how she was actually killed because they want to leave that for the killer. Like if they do find the killer, that would only be knowledge that he had. So a lot of times they just don't share that because I mean, I don't think they shared it later down the line, but as far as I know, they never shared it. I'll open that back up in a minute. Okay, so Tommy Hudson, matter of death concealed. All right, so Tommy Hudson, he was the guy that was like helpful to them, I guess. So her grandma, pretty sure it was the grandma, had put together like a murder board. Yeah, I agree. Something. I think someone stuffed her in there, and then from the rain and water and stuff like that, she slipped further down to 18, I believe. She was 18. Wait, let me double check. Hold on. But I'm pretty sure she was 18. Wikipedia. I know it says it on here. Hold on 1 second. I'm finding it out for you. Yeah, 18. She was exactly 18. It's okay, Gladys. Thank you for coming. Yeah, she was 18. So, Tommy Hudson, the guy who was helpful, kind of helped the grandma out a little bit. Like, the grandma put together her own little murder board. Like, she literally made a whole wall murder board. Yeah, she was a baby still. And she would ask Tommy, like, what about this guy? What about this guy? Is it this? And he would kind of give her, like, definitely not that guy. Maybe this guy. So he claims that the manner of death concealed, but Tommy believes somebody definitely put her down there. So man at a party, CL accused of. All right, so she accused these two guys of SA. I guess they were the guys. She texted C and said she believed L videotaped her. He denies and gives Ebby his phone number. They interviewed him one time and they never subpoenaed his phone. So the guy who videotaped her, they interviewed him once and never subpoenaed his phone. And then I believe the other guy too. And nobody has been able to speak to them since. The new guy, Bruce, agrees to meet, but he doesn't want to be on the podcast. And then he says he's going to start from scratch and that he hasn't started yet because of COVID. But that's the guy who claims he, I believe, was a cold case guy. And that he was given like a cold case, like the cold cases, and he said he was going to start from scratch. So there was this other guy, Eric, which they featured on the podcast. By the way, if you guys weren't in here, the podcast is called Hell and Gone, or To Hell and Gone. It's very good if people want to listen to it. It's this woman pretty much looking into the case from all angles. And she does a very good job. She actually goes to the town and yeah, I played like 2 seconds of it and took it off because Queen said not to play Dr. Phil. So this guy Eric, he was in love with Ebby and he adored her. I'll probably go on and edit that, by the way, too. So this guy Eric, he was like in love with Ebby. He absolutely adored her. They met at Central High School and they hung out together, like one-on-one. They would smoke together, stuff like that. The police knew where she was at Sunday night and say that she was safe. Eric and Ebby knew they liked each other. They met during a pre-calc class. Shalimont Park was Ebby's happy place, he said. That high school kids hung out there and drank there. And that she hung out with people that she hung out with that she did drugs with. So he claims that, like, there was other people who she was hanging out with that he wasn't really, big fans of, and that, they did drugs and stuff together. One time she wanted to get a tattoo. but got this. So he claims, all right, so her friend is kind of explaining like the people that she hung around and the people that like, so it kind of opens up even more speculation. Like, could she just been hanging with the wrong crowd and all the wrong things happened? But apparently, this one time she wanted to get a tattoo, and she went to this like crackhead's house where they just had like an AK-47 like sitting out on the couch. And one of Eric's friends lied to Ebby about someone he hooked up with, and she got like really upset about it because they kind of like would piss each other off on purpose because they liked each other, and she would hook up with a guy and he would get mad, and then he would hook up a girl and she would get mad. She slept at his house in his sister's bed, and she had breakfast and left. What day was that? I think that was Sunday morning she left. Eric spoke to Ebby on Sunday night before she spoke to Trevor and couldn't answer, kept saying sorry and sounded incoherent. Okay, so she called Eric before she called her brother. And Eric spoke to Ebby, and he said she just kept saying sorry to him, and then she sounded very like incoherent. And he kept saying, well, you need to get. Oh, hey, Jules 23, that's okay. Thank you for coming. I'm happy you're here. So, where was I? So he was on the phone with her, and she kept saying sorry. She was really incoherent. She was really messed up. And he kept saying, like, look, you got to call your brother. Your brother can help. He can track your phone number. Please call your brother. So he kind of like pushed her in the direction to call her brother. And then she called her brother. And then that's the phone call where she told him she was really effed up. She didn't know where she was. And then he got off the phone to try and figure out where she was. And when he called back, she never answered again. And apparently, they think that she may have made the call from the park. They say that she maybe had a second phone. And on Saturday, October 24th, ended a text saying, I'm going to kill myself. She Googled SA and how to file a police report. And Bruce told her their timeline was all wrong, and that Saturday she was safe. The timeline off by a whole day. No idea where she was till the phone call with Trevor. The only conclusion Ebby climbed in herself. Okay, so Bruce believes that the only conclusion was that Ebby climbed into the sewer herself and that there was no more work to be done. But again, I just can't see somebody who's that messed up opening a manhole and be able to close it again. Debbie's oh wait, where was I? So the neighbor, this is where it gets tricky with the security guard too. The neighbor Lee told the guard that the car was there. And the original incident reported about the car was Lee and not the security guard. So the neighbor, Lee, called the car in. He was the first one to call the car in and say that the car was left there. But the security guard said that he was the first person, but he wasn't. So Lee told the security guard, but Lee was actually the first person to call in. Debbie's murder work, I have her. I don't know what that means. Sometimes I don't understand what my notes mean, but sorry. So Eric, Ebby's good friend, doesn't ever remember security at Shalamette Park. Guy said that Ebby's car was there Sunday. Okay, so the security guard says Ebby's car was there Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night. The car was running still and claims he called the cops every day. Says he saw Ebby in the park on 3 different occasions with young black males and in the back seat. Said he had video on his dash cam, but his computer was thrown away. So that video's gone. So he claimed that, he had this dash cam and it was constantly rolling and it took video, and that he would upload the video to his computer every night. Again, which I find really weird. Like, unless he was instructed to do it, why would some, playground security guard videotape everything on his dash cam and upload it to his computer every night? That just seems kind of, weird and creepy to me. I don't know, maybe he was instructed, but it's just really bizarre to me that some, playground, how important is a playground security guard that you need to save all your dash cam videos to your computer? Why are you doing that? I just find that really creepy. He was I think it's a little creepy. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but to save video from your dash cam, it's to me, it seems like the playground probably didn't even know he was doing that. And then on his dash cam, he had videos of her with other men that he saved. And one of the videos was her in the back seat of her car with some guy. And now, suddenly, his computer breaks and he loses all the videos. No, trying to see if they have a link to the I think he's a creeper too, Thumb Thug. I do. He just comes off as a total creeper to me. I can't get over that. Just running dash cam video and saving it to your computer every night for what? To watch the playground? The hell do you need that for? It's just so weird to me. I don't know. Parties. Hold on. Seeing if this video is. I don't think it is, but. Try to see if they have the video of the. There's an ad. Hey, Jeb. Yay, you're here. So happy. All right, so her friend. It says the car was parked in the front, as told by a security guard. Wasn't there? My notes end here, but wasn't there a discrepancy? If you remember, Thumb Thug, wasn't there a discrepancy in where the security guard said the car was parked and where it was actually parked? All right, I'm gonna play this. I have no idea. Hopefully, I won't get. Hold on. It's a short little news report from the day they found her remains. Hold on.
Stand up.
She goes on to say, Ebby Jane, you are dancing in the throne room while we weep at your grave. I long for the day I will join you. Your life has brought purpose and meaning to so many, and I'm proud to be your mom.
TV 11's Michael Aaron joins us live tonight from Shalamont Park with the latest on the investigation and words of thanks from her family. Michael.
Well, Craig, Denise, I spoke to Ebby's mom, Laurie, last month on what would have been her 21st birthday, and she said that the family would not stop searching until they had closure. And tonight, the area that once gave them one of their only clues about Ebby's disappearance proves to hold an even bigger piece of this case. On Wednesday evening, a statement from the spokesperson for Ebby Steppach's family. God hears and answers all prayers, she says. God answered the family's prayers to find Ebby.
We've never given up on this.
In a video release, Little Rock police confirmed the human remains found in a drainage pipe at Shalimont Park Tuesday are those of Ebby Steppach. Ebby's car was found just yards from that pipe on October 30th, 2015, just days after she disappeared. Investigators later searched the area with cadaver dogs.
Cadaver dogs searched that area for over 3 days and didn't locate any kind of scent that would lead us to believe that Ms. Steppach was in that area.
In 2017, the Little Rock Police Department created a cold case unit made up of retired homicide investigators. Those detectives took over Ebby's case, submitting evidence to the state crime lab and formulating multiple scenarios about what could have happened to the then 18-year-old. Those efforts ultimately led them back to Shalimont Park Tuesday morning, where they dug up a section of drainage pipe near the spot where Ebby's car was found.
Upon opening that pipe, cold case investigators located human remains inside that pipe.
On Wednesday, the state crime lab positively identified the remains as those of Ebby Steppach, ending a desperate search by her family that lasted nearly 3 years.
The cold case unit will continue to work with the Jernigan and Steppach family to bring a resolve to this matter.
A celebration of Ebby's life will be held at the Christ Community Church on the campus of Little Rock Christian Academy. That's Saturday at 2 p.m. We're live in West Little Rock tonight. Michael Aaron, THV 11 News.
Michael, thank you. In their statement today, Ebby's family also thanks the Little Rock Field Office of the FBI and the Little Rock Cold Case Unit for the time and effort they put into this case.
The family goes on to ask for prayers of gratitude, strength, and guidance for this group of individuals as they try to solve some of those unanswered questions.
And you can read more about the Ebby Steppach case and see the full statement from her family after today's announcement on THV11.com.
And remember, this investigation is ongoing. If you have any information, we also have contact information for the Little Rock Police.
If you're looking for more from your vacation, you can find it in Arkansas.
Kind of disappointed I can't play the Dr. Phil thing because it was like, it really, so you guys have to watch. Maybe I can, I mean, all you have to do is type in Dr. Phil, Ebby Steppach, but they actually show the woman like on video climbing down into the drain pipe and trying to fit in there. And they show you how big it is, all that. Yeah. I wish Sarah was here too. She was supposed to be here, but she probably fell asleep or something. Yeah, she's super knowledgeable. She's the one who got me like totally into this case and looking into it. But check out the Dr. Phil episode. It has like, it shows everything, so you have a visual of everything. Yeah, the podcast is called To Hell and Gone. It was really good. Let me see if it might be better to read from here because my notes were a little bit like all over the place because like when I'm writing my notes, I just like write out stuff, and at the time I know what I'm talking about. Usually after I write my notes, I like go live about it shortly after, but I didn't. I waited like a week and a half, so I'm reading my notes. I'm like, what the hell am I even talking about here? But I think I did pretty good. So it says she was obviously vanished in October 2015. She was staying with family members and friends after rebelling against her mother and stepfather. On October 24th, she contacted. So let's hold on. I want to look at the days real quick. How do I edit the calendar? Gosh. Okay. Oh, we want to go this way. Hold on, guys. 2015, October. All right. So October 24th was a Saturday. So Friday night, she must have been at that party or whatever it was, to get together. And then on Saturday, she contacted her stepdad asking him to go with her to Little Rock Police Department to report her essay, which, when they pieced it together, it seemed as though it wasn't exactly an essay. It was consensual, but during this consensual act, he started filming her without her knowing, and she got really mad. So she started, texting the boys, telling them she's going to report them to the police. So it could be them, or it could be, the playground security guard. She said the boys made a video. She made no solid plans with her stepfather for when they would meet up. She sounded as if she might confront her assaulters. So she was really mad, and she was asking for their phone numbers, reaching out to them. I think she may have tried to meet up with them to get the video or make sure they delete it. I don't know, but family tried to reach her repeatedly with no answer. Finally, she reached out to her brother around 5:30 on the 25th, which would have been Sunday night or evening. She told her brother she was outside his house, and when he looked outside, she was not there. She said she was effed up and didn't know where she was. It was the last time anyone spoke to her. Oh yeah, and I was spot on. She's 5'2", which is how tall I am, and 110 pounds. I'm like 112, so we're like the exact same size. So after the phone call, her family tried to report her missing, but the police department ruled her a runaway, which they usually do. They said they have to wait 12 hours before, they can file a missing persons report. Her Volkswagen Passat was located a few days after she disappeared at Shalimar Park. A security guard had to call law enforcement 2 days in a row before they came to check out the car, which we know the security guard said he was the first to call, but he wasn't. It was the neighbor Lee who then told the security guard, and then the security called after Lee had already called. When police arrived, Ebby's car was out of gas, the battery was dead, the keys were in the ignition, and all of her belongings were still in the car. So her car was running for days, or however, it wouldn't be able to run for days, but hours, I'm sure. The keys were ignition, it ran out of gas, and all of her purse, phone, everything was in the car, and her makeup was even scattered all over and broken, the powder was broken all over the place. So for 2.5 years, her family searched with no answers. In 2017, a new police detective was assigned to Ebby's case, Detective Tommy Hudson, who started retracing the investigation. Looking at weather patterns around the time Ebby went missing and trusting his gut, he went back to Shalimar Park. On the morning of May 22nd, 2018, Little Rock Police Department dug into a drainage pipe. The pipe was 60 feet from where Ebby's car was found. Inside the pipe, Ebby's remains were located. No cause of death has been released. According to Little Rock Police Department, we are investigating this case as a homicide unless evidence points us in a different direction. So I would imagine that being in... Hey, Tia. I would imagine that being in that pipe for a while, probably there's probably a lot of decomposition. They might not even know how she died. I'm sure they might not even know her manner of death, but they definitely, if they do, they're not releasing it. But again, this could have been solved literally weeks after she went missing, because her best friend and her friend's mom went to the park because her friend was so upset about it, wanted to go look for herself. I don't know if they know or not, Jem, but it was never released. They said that they wouldn't release it because how they withhold stuff in case they find the killer. The killer would only know of that knowledge. So the killer, if they even had it, they wouldn't release it. But I don't know if they know or not. But Hold on. But yeah, her best friend, went down to the park with her mother, and they were walking in the park, and they could smell decomposition. And there's literally a 911 call. Let me see if I can find it. I think the lady's name was Kaylee. Kaylee, 911 call. They definitely have a 911 call because to Helen God. Margie Foley, that's her name, and her daughter was Kaylee. Hold up, let me see. Ha! I got it. Okay, we're gonna listen to the 911 call. I just got way too excited for that. Hold on. Okay. I don't know what the second one is, but we'll play this first. Ebby's body was found on May 22nd of this year in a drainage culvert in Shalimar Park. Investigators sent robots with cameras into the pipe and found an obstruction. When they dug up the drains, they found human remains.
911, what's location emergency?
I just came out of a meeting with Detective Williams in regards to a missing person named Ebby Steppach.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
He said that the car was located in this park behind Robinson School subdivision area.
Okay.
And I brought my daughter here, who's a friend of hers, and we just started walking around, and I could smell decomposition. So I was just tried to call his phone, and he didn't call me back. Could you send somebody here to investigate or get in touch with him? Little Rock Police Department, North Little Rock, I think. Detective Williams.
Okay.
Haley.
Okay. And you say you're there behind the school?
It's in the subdivision.
Okay.
You know where I'm at.
Do you, I'm kind of have an idea of what that area is. Did you come onto the school property, or did you come in from a different location?
We came in through the subdivision. There's this park that's supposed to be for residents.
Oh, okay.
And this is where he said her car was found, and I brought my daughter Kaylee.
Okay.
She had been here with her before.
Sure.
We came here.
Okay.
We're going to have her look around, and as I passed the sewer, I could smell decomposition.
Okay, just a second. Call for one. Call for one.
And it does look like the area would be big enough for somebody to fit in.
1740. Okay.
And
what's your name again, ma'am?
Margie Foley.
How do you spell your last?
Foley.
Oh, okay. Take 91. Sorry. I want to see who we need to get out there, and then I will call you in just a few minutes, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Bye-bye.
I have never smelled decomposition, but I do have a terrible story of dealing with so I was a nurse's aide for like many years, probably like 10 years. And I worked at a nursing home, and it was like my third day of training, and the woman I was following, who was, like teaching me what to do, her resident had passed. And she said, like, this is part of the job. If somebody passes, you need to like clean them up and, make them look nice and change the sheets in the bed so their family can come and say their goodbyes or whatever, So she's like, do you want to do it now and get it over with? Or, Do you want to wait? I can do it without you. So I'm like, no. We can do it now. I might as well learn. Like, I might as well jump right in. So, like, trigger warning, because it's probably uncomfortable to hear from some people, but it's really bizarre. So, they have like a thing called a draw sheet, which is like a folded sheet underneath a patient to help make turning them easily, like make it easier for the caretakers to turn them. And we were turning her back and forth to change the new sheets underneath her. And when they turned her towards me, my pinky hit her eyelid and it opened her eye. And when I rolled her back, oh my gosh, I had a goddamn heart attack. Like, literally jumped out of my skin. It scared the crap out of me. Yeah. Oh, it was horrible. I mean, it just for like, it was probably my third day at work. So, but after that, it was, I was glad I learned quickly, because after that it was a little easier, but it scared the bejesus out of me. I just thought she, suddenly woke up when we were wrong, but no, it was my figure. My brother-in-law is an officer hazing in the first year for rookies. They would make them wait in homes with band decomp until... Oh, no. Oh, no. Jim, that sounds horrible. I've personally never smelled decomp. Hi, LFT Decipher Podcast. Thanks. Yeah, it's not as bad as you think, but oh my god, sorry. My husband is gaping and he's screaming in the background. So there's only so much I can avoid his yelling until he starts yelling really loud because he's bad. So if you hear him, he's gaming. Anyway, it wasn't a hard job. It was actually really fulfilling, but that was the hard part of it. You make close friends with some of these people, and you have to prepare for those moments. But I could not. I've never smelled decomp personally, like human decomp. I've smelled like animal decomp. I don't know if it smells similar. I've smelled like rotten meat, which is a horrible smell. So I can't imagine what human decomp smells like, but I'd imagine it's really, really bad. And that sounds horrible that they would make them wait in homes until the coroner showed up. Oh no. I'd have to go stand outside. I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know what this next one is. I can play it. Like, I can play this this call real quick if we want to hear it. I have no idea what it is. This is Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. Shane Wade calls. Oh, I think this is him. Yeah, I've never smelled it either. Your eyeballs will tear up? Oh no. Oh, I don't want to ever smell it. Hopefully I never have to, but yeah, animal decomp is bad. So I think so. I'm gonna play this too. I think this is the guy that she called, and then he calls the sheriff office to let them know that she called and to send someone over there. Thanks, Cypress. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. Okay, let me mute this real quick. Well, that sounds like a great idea. Putting Vicks up your nose with little tampons. I've put in Vicks, like, because I get really bad allergies. As you can probably hear it right now. I was fine for like 2-3 weeks. I was doing good because we had the air on and the window shut. And then today, my son's like, let's go to the park. Which I was all right. And then I got home and they mowed the lawn. And my son opened the window without me knowing. He was like putting something in the window from outside because the window's like kind of low to the ground. And left it open. And they mowed the lawn. And I've been like, I was almost afraid that I couldn't go live because I was like sneezing so many times in a row that I couldn't even like get a word out. But luckily, it's not too bad now. I'm just a little stuffy. But let me play this.
Communications is Devin. Hi, Devin. This is Wade with Pulaski County. Do you guys have a on-call, like a person's crime detective?
Did the supervisor not call anybody for you?
You know, they may have. I had to drop the line because we got overrun in here, so I didn't actually hear back.
Okay. Hang on just a second for me.
Okay. I mean, if you could, if we could just have them, they could call us, would be fine. Or you could just put me on hold. Fucker.
Was it just me, or did he say fucker in the background? It's like, or you could just put me on hold. That sounded like he said fucker after that. Thanks, gamer guy. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Anderson, how can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. This is Wade with Pulaski County.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a call just a little bit ago from a lady that said that she had met with Detective Williams, I guess out of your department, a little bit earlier today. And it was about the missing girl, Ebby. I don't know her last name. I can't remember it right now.
The missing girl, Ebby?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me just a second. Call for one. Negative. 1,800. Okay. Anyway, but she said that I guess her daughter knew the missing girl, but they were there is a little neighborhood park there behind J.T. Robinson on Shalamont. 443. Okay, thank you. And she said she smelled something decomposing, and she was worried that may be related to the case somehow.
Okay, and who told you all this?
Her name is Margie Foley.
Margie Foley. Foley.
Yes.
What's her phone number? And her daughter's friends with little Evie?
Yeah, I think her name is Kaylee. Her daughter's name is Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Yeah.
Kaylee. Okay. And when did Kaylee smell this?
It was just, it may have been 20 minutes ago now, 30 minutes ago.
20 minutes. Is Kaylee still at the park?
They were when I spoke to them.
Okay.
But she said it seems like there's a sewer drain or something over there, and she was, like I said, she was very concerned about that. And she said she tried to call Detective Williams, but she didn't get an answer. So I told her I would see what I could chase down for her.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Yes,
did you guys check the park?
We did not, because that's the city limits of Little Rock.
Okay. And it's on Shalamont?
Yes.
Behind Josie Rock. What's the park's name?
I have no idea. She just said it's a little neighborhood park for the neighborhood there, I guess. So I don't really know.
Okay, and what's your name, sir?
My name is Shan.
I'm sorry, what is it? I'm sorry.
My first name is Shan.
Shan?
S-H-A-N.
Okay.
Last name is Wade.
Wade, okay. All right, we'll get this forwarded over to Violent Crimes, okay?
Okay, good deal. Detective.
Oh no, it went away. I wanted to run it back because he definitely said fucker. He was like, all right, put me on hold, fucker. Right, still cleaning glitter. He definitely said it. I know I heard it. I wanted to run it back, but it changed to that. So, oh well. Yeah, so that was in 2015 when they called the police and literally told them they could smell decomp. And they sent nobody out there. They could have found her body weeks after she went missing. And they probably could have had something. She's on Facebook. She's commenting from Facebook. I'm live on Facebook too. So I can see both chats. Dispatcher. He was put on hold and called back close to 10 minutes after that. That's why he was mad. Yeah, I could go for some pizza too. Sounds good. I'll scoot over to YouTube. Officers shine flashlight as you Foley said she waited an hour at the park before any law enforcement officials arrived. Officers shined flashlights, well, at least they showed up, into the drainage pipe. When they returned to her car, they told her she was smelling sewage. You would think that officers would know that. They brushed me off, Foley said in an interview. The Little Rock police declined to comment for this article. Citing an ongoing investigation, they have declared Steppach's death a homicide. Police also declined a request filed under State Freedom of Information Act for their recordings of 911 calls regarding Steppach, again citing the investigation. So, Lieutenant Michael Ford, a department spokesman, said the system that stores emergency call recordings automatically erases all calls every 30 days. Steppach stayed with Foley and her daughter Kaylee for a few weeks in 2015 because Steppach had moved out of her parents' house. She met Foley's daughter when they both worked at Playtime Pizza. Oh my god, Gamer Guy, the chicken from Burger King is slamming. It's good. The chicken. If anyone hasn't had it, try it. It's delicious. If you like spicy chicken sandwiches, it is the bomb. Oh, I wonder if she could sue them for that. Still cleaning glitter. Like, I mean, I guess they could probably just argue that they checked it out and they didn't find anything, but still, like, I would be pissed. Because, literally, had they found her then, they would have been able to get so much DNA and things like that. I'm sure by 2018, there was not much left, you know? It makes me physically ill thinking that the girl I had in my home had taken in was decaying down there, and that's what I smelled. Oh, poor lady. And nobody did anything, they just left her there. They called the police 3 times before connecting with anyone there, and later left phone messages for the investigator who was originally in charge of Steppach's case. Yeah, the guy Roy, he was terrible. He was a guy who didn't even know how to subpoena for call records. And then when they went to the prosecutor, to the state prosecutor, he knew how to subpoena for court records. And he knew how to subpoena for court records, and he went to them and told them that they could, and they told him they didn't have enough probable cause to do it. They could have had the phone records of every single guy that she had an argument with. They could have had their phone records. Hold on a second. All right. Where was I? In 2017, the Little Rock Cold Case Department, a team of 4 retired officers who worked part-time, took over the missing teen's case. They kept dismissing me, Foley said. It never sat right with me. In an earlier interview, Steppach's mother, Laurie Jernigan, cited several examples of what she says were investigative missteps from the beginning of her daughter's case. They included police telling her family members that they had to wait 12 hours before reporting Steppach missing, even though there is no legal requirement to do that. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was no legal requirement. Like, I thought that you had to wait 12 hours. That's good to know. Oh, still cleaning glitter. I would have crawled my ass in that fucking pipe myself with a flashlight if my kid was missing and I found that out. I would have it like one of those, what do you call it? Those little like headband flashlights that you put over your forehead, crawled in that bitch. Like, for sure. I would be down there looking my damn self. I mean, if my kid's car was found at that park, I would have searched that park inside and out. I would have been down every sewer, up every tree, dug up the entire place my damn self because I'm crazy like that. But yeah, same. I go down way too many rabbit holes because things don't sit right with me. But I mean, I found out a lot through covering cases that the police in a lot of places suck at investigating like basic shit. Like in the Morphew case, like it blew my mind because they find her bike, right? I don't know if you guys know about Morphew, but Suzanne Morphew goes missing on Mother's Day. She supposedly took a bike ride and she went missing, and they found her mountain bike at the bottom of this ravine. And on the on the body cam videos, they're walking her bike back up the hill. They have no gloves on, just putting their DNA all over everything. Like, I'm sorry, but that's basic fucking police procedure. Like, if there's anything you should know, it's that you put gloves on before handling anything. Like, I get that they thought maybe she just like crashed her bike and they would find her, but it's still no excuse to touch anything without a pair of gloves on. I just find that insane. And they were like, oh, well, they don't really have a lot of crime here or murders, so it's a really small police department. I mean, you don't have to have a lot of crime to know to put gloves on before handling evidence. I mean, it's just like police 101. My husband will say, oh, your friend is over there if there's a police officer because I get myself into things for my curiosity and had to call 911 to report things. Oh, you'd be watching out the windows. You one of those people who be watching through the blinds at your neighbors? Because I be doing that too sometimes. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm way too paranoid. I'm the same way. So I close at my job, and a lot of the times there'll be like one more person in there before I have to close, and it makes me worry so much. Like, I've grabbed scissors and stuffed them in like the waistband of my pants and carried them around with me just in case, because I get so nervous when I'm like, it's just me and one other person in there. Like, oh my god, what if they kill me? What if they attack me? And I did actually have a super scary incident at work one time. So we own like a roofing company, but on the weekends I just work at this gym for like extra money and a free membership. And this guy came in one day and he was acting like really, really bizarre. Like, how can I explain this? He was like walking around in like a same path over and over again. He was wearing sunglasses and he kept like walking up to people and asking them to use the machines they were using. Then he went upstairs for a little bit where we have like a little classroom, and then he came back down with his shirt off. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why does this guy have his shirt off? Then next thing I know, he has his shoes off and he's walking around barefoot. Then this girl comes up to me who's working out, and she's like, I'm really freaked out right now. I'm like, why? And I already know why she's freaked out, but I'm just trying to like, not freak anybody else out even more than I already am, because I'm like crazy paranoid. And she's like, the guy just walked up to me and handed me this. And she holds out one of those like box cutting razors, that like the little flip razors that you use to like cut carpet or like boxes. The dude just walked up and handed it to her. And then she brought it to me, and I'm like, oh my god, like, why did he give this to you? Like, and then so I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I could go in that closet. Maybe he has another weapon on him. If he has a gun, like, I'm going in there, So luckily one of the members is a cop, this guy Joe, and I'm like, thank God he's here, because like I just felt a little better when he came in. But I asked him, I'm like, what do I do? Like should I call the police? He's like, yeah, call the police. So I call the police. They come and they basically tell me that the only thing they can really do is tell this guy to leave, and if he comes back, then they can do something about it. But the second he saw the cops, he was out. But he left his shirt here, his phone there. He did put his shoes back on, and then he returned, and he started like he walked in through the front door, and then we have these doors where we keep our like trash and cleaning equipment and stuff. Nobody's allowed to go back there. And he kept walking back there through these doors that say don't go through them, down the steps, outside, and then back in again, over and over and over again. So, like, I thought maybe he was looking for his stuff and didn't know where he left it. So I went back upstairs and I gave him his stuff. And we ended up just, like, calling his family and telling them, like, we think he's having, like, a mental health crisis. And, you know, and they figured it out. But it scared the crap out of me when that lady came up and handed me that, like, basically a knife. You know, it was like a razor. You can literally slice someone's neck open with that. And it scared the bejesus out of me. I'm like, what if he has something else on him? What if he has a weapon I don't know about? Why did he just give it to this woman? One night I was sitting out my back deck and heard a horrendous girl scream and then a pop pop. Oh my gosh. I would have had a heart attack. Yeah, I was talking to Thumb Thug that day as it was like, Thumb Thug, glad she would have been there, and Sarah, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, what do I do? Like, this guy's in here and he's being super weird. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, wait, you almost called 911 but didn't because you weren't sure. And then a couple hours later, a young girl and guy was found shot in their car. No. No way. I have to talk to parents before they go places to meet parents. If I didn't already know that my mom did that. I used to be so embarrassed, but now I'm the embarrasser. Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, the world is just so different now. For instance, like, I used to be able to play on the street, jump in my neighbors' backyards, you know, go everywhere. And it was like the whole neighborhood looked out for us. They never got mad. But now if my kid went outside, if he went in somebody's backyard, it would be all over the Facebook neighborhood site of, you know, some sorry. But it would be like, you know, the neighbors nowadays the neighbors would go on Facebook, you know, the neighborhood groups they have, like, there's kids in my backyard. Parents need to get their kids, you know, and, or they'll be called the cops. Like, it's not the same anymore. You can't just let your kids go out and play in the neighborhood and expect, you know, it scares me because I'm like, you know, I want my kid to just go out and play, but I'm afraid that he's gonna, like, get into something and, you know, the neighbors are gonna call the cops or, you know. Like, nowadays, just for like, climbing a fence through somebody's yard, they'll have a heart attack about it. I had a talk with my son because he went to a music festival in Vegas and didn't tell me. Oh, the shooting at the country music festival. Oh, it's terrifying. I mean, like, even this school shooting, I don't even want to talk about it. I really wanted to, like, it's, you can't really avoid talking about it, but I really didn't want to talk about it that much because I get so emotional, like, over children and how anybody could do that to children. And it's just so sad. And parents should feel safe sending their kids to school, you know? Like, sorry, it's making me a little emotional, but it's sad. Like, it's, you know, school is one of those places where you're like, oh, okay, I can send my kid and it's safe. And it's not anymore. Like, it's not a safe place. And, like, not only that, but, like, in elementary school with little kids, how it's unfathomable to me that anybody could ever even just harm a child. Like, it's blows my mind and it's terrifying. My neighborhood's pretty safe. It's gated. The only reason I'm kind of lax with them around the house. Oh, yeah. Well, they're, you know, 16, 15, and 14 now. Like, when my son's 6, so I got to be with him at all times. But, like, I still get worried when it gets a little bit older. You know, it's not like when I was in first and second grade, I was out riding my bike. You know, I didn't have to. It was a little more lax for me than it would be for my kid. I used to have to go in when my mom flicked the porch light. Yeah, we had to go in when the street lights went on. Like, well, during the school year. During the summer, we got to play a little bit after the street lights. Yeah, school shootings are almost normal nowadays. It's crazy, but I don't agree with, like, taking people's guns away. I don't agree with that, but I do feel like they should make it harder for people to obtain what's it called? Why can't I think of it? Assault rifles. Like, why is it so easy for these like people to obtain assault rifles, but hard to obtain a handgun. Like it should be just as difficult to obtain an assault rifle. Like you should have to get a background check and the whole 9 yards. They shouldn't just sell assault rifles to people. I said this earlier that my daughter's school turned down free police officers during school hours because they didn't want kids scared. Can't tell you how many times this school has had to go on. Yeah, my kid's school, whenever there's like something crazy that happens in the news, the police officers kind of just like sit outside during pick up and drop off to like show they're present, I guess. I own my guns illegally. A lot of people do, honestly. I mean, a lot of people, buy them off people and, obtain them illegally too. I mean, there'll always be ways to get them, but I feel like they should at least make it a little harder to get an assault rifle. My kid's been out school for like a week after what happened yesterday. It didn't happen by me, but if they were still in school, they would stay home today. Yeah. I thought about it, but my kids still got like 2 weeks of school left here in PA. We do it. A lot of people end school. I noticed in other states they end school really early, like May, but we don't end till like mid-June. But we don't start till a lot later. We don't start till like mid-September. Lockdown this year, including a time 2 students were found with loaded guns. No way. My one daughter, a while ago, someone dropped a bunch of books. It was really loud, and she said for a minute she was scared, thought it was a situation like yesterday. Yeah, it's scary because, like, when I was younger, sorry, I have to take a sip of my drink. When I was younger, we didn't have like those what do you call, like, have to practice in case there's a school shooting. Like, that wouldn't even have been a thought to us, But now it's like a thing at school where they have to practice what they would do in the event of a school shooting. I mean, I also think it would be helpful if they let teachers carry. I mean, I know not all teachers would want to do that, but even if they had 1 or 2 teachers in the school, yeah, it's sad they have to have shooting drills. A fire drill is standard, but a shooting drill, please, that's terrifying. My dad says the government is responsible for school shootings because they want to ban guns. Yeah, a lot of people feel that there just happens to be school shootings right before election time, which, remember Nicholas, that school shooter? There's been a lot of Nicholas. Which one was that? The Douglas High School? Is that the guy at Douglas High School? Oh, no, Parkland school shooter, right? Yeah, he was a Parkland school shooter. Yeah. I remember him, yep. Yeah. It's crazy. I remember in the whatever, I forget what year it was when the what was the Columbine? I remember coming home from school early that day. I don't know if we got out early because of the school shooting or what, but I remember going to my friend's house after school on the bus. I think it was, I don't know if it was like a Friday or we had off the next day, and I remember just sitting in her mom's room and we were glued to the TV just watching the Columbine thing go down because it was like live when they had the people running out of the school. Ugh, I'll never forget that. Like, I'll never forget exactly where I was because that was the first time I ever even knew what a school shooting was, you know, and I was in grade school, so I still didn't even really comprehend it. I think even I was in 8th grade when 9/11 happened, and when they announced it, I didn't even I didn't understand it. Like I had no idea like what was going on when they were like, "Oh yeah, like a plane got hijacked by terrorists." I'm like, "What? Like what the heck does this mean?" And I remember going to my friend's house who lived down the street after school and watching that on TV all day. But I mean, the first time I ever even seen anything like a school shooting was the Columbine stuff. Yeah, the kids get bullied, and you know, they. I mean, obviously, you know, it's the first school shooting happened in 1920 something in Bath, Michigan. Isn't that song "Pumped Up Kicks" about a school shooting that happened in like California, like the 70s? All the other kids with the pumped up kicks. That one. Um, hold on a second. I just have to answer a text real quick. Everyone watch the it is about a school shooting. Yeah, I think they said it was about like a school shooting in the 1970s or something like that. I remember hearing about what particular one. Oh, you see them? They're a good band. Uh, have you guys been watching the Johnny Depp trial? I am hooked. Today was really good too. They had a guy from TMZ come in and basically say that in a nutshell that Amber tipped them off and like sent a video. I used to sing that song. It's a good song. I hope Johnny wins too. Yeah, I'm Team Johnny for sure. But TMZ basically, the guy from TMZ was a witness, and TMZ tried to like not tried to file an emergency motion so he couldn't testify, but it was denied. So the guy came in and testified, and basically, in other words, admitted that Amber Heard had tipped off TMZ about like everything they were there for, and that the video of Johnny breaking the cabinets is owned by them because she like sold it to them or whatever. And the Elaine, the Amber's attorney, said to the guy, "Oh, well, I guess this is your, you're here because it was your 15 minutes of fame." And he was like, "No, actually, I'm putting myself in the line of fire for TMZ, which is a very like, uh, what's the word for it? Like litigious, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, but they sue people all the time or like copyright strike people." And he said, "I'm putting myself in the line of fire of them." And then he said, "But I guess I could say the same for you, right?" Like, meaning that she took the position of Amber Heard's lawyer, so she did it to get her 15 minutes of fame. That guy was spicy. I was laughing so hard. Oh, I don't think it's boring at all. I am hooked. I died too. I've been watching every day, like, just so into it. I'm so into it. I mean, I probably shouldn't be so into it, but I am. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Oh, the TikToks and stuff, they've been so funny. Oh my goodness. Like, it's just been so entertaining. Yeah, it was a really good day for Johnny Depp. I think yesterday was a good day too, and the day before. Like, I think Johnny Depp's team. The only thing I didn't think was good for Johnny Depp is I feel like he should have never got back on the stand today. I don't think it did good for him, but I don't think it ruined his case. But Amber's team just keeps bringing on these wacky, like, witnesses. Like, a lot of them are like really wacky. Like that doctor. Like, what doctor in his report calls somebody an idiot? Like, it's so unprofessional. Yeah, I think Friday's closing arguments. And Amber's team only has like an hour left. Like, they only have like an hour of time left. So, I don't know. They're not going to have a long closing argument. Johnny's side has like 7 hours. But they had Kate Moss come on, who basically said Johnny never kicked her down any stairs and that he was really just helpful. And then they had who else was on there? Oh, they had this guy who looked through the metadata of Amber's pictures, and it showed that she had put the pictures in like a third party app called like Photos. I forget what it was called, but it was like an editing app. TMZ actually sent the witness a subpoena last night so they could go into court and say he received them, but it wasn't from JD's legal team. I asked them to figure out those texts I want them to figure out those texts they asked Johnny about. Honestly, I don't really care about the text. Like, the one was after him and Amber already broke up and he was mad. Like, I would be saying the same shit about her after all the shit she did to him. I would be not talking good at all. And then his conversations with, like, his friends, he often joked very, like, made, like, dirty jokes. Like, him and Paul Bettany made, like, Monty Python jokes all the time and stuff. So they were just kind of like, oh, and then there was text between him and Vanessa. They were calling each other like a dirty slut and all this stuff. But like they would joke back and forth. You could tell they were obviously joking when they showed it. Someone asked Johnny Depp why he was upset about someone in his family dying. What kind of stupid question is that? I know, right? Like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't you be up? I mean, it would be weird if you weren't upset of somebody dying in your family. Please. I don't. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it, Alexis. I think the one was from him, where he talks about like the 50-cent stripper or whatever. But I really don't blame him because I would have said the same shit. And then the other one was conversations between him and Kristen Carino talking about someone named Molly, but I personally think they were talking in code about drugs. So let me find it for you. Hold on. I'm going to find it and I'm going to read them to you. I think they were making, like, alluding to jokes about drugs. Sorry, my throat is, like, really dry because I'm having... All right, so I don't know if this is Steven Duders. All right, so it's between Johnny and Steven Duders. I don't know who's saying what, but it says, right? Exactly. Molly's pussy is rightfully mine. Should I not just bust in and remove its hinges tonight? I want to change her understanding of what it is to be thrashed about like a pleading mackerel. I need, I want, I take. I honestly think they were talking in code about doing Molly. Yeah, I think they were talking about doing Molly, but like in code. It was between him and Steven Duders. I don't know if Steven Duders said it or if he said it because I don't understand. It says participants and then it's all blacked out. And it says Steven Duders' names, but there's all this blackout stuff. So I can't tell who said what. But it said direction incoming. So I'm guessing that it was Johnny's phone and it was incoming text to Johnny from Steven Duders. So, but I think they were talking about the drug Molly. So Clean Glitter, no way. They were all into drugs. Whitney was addicted to cocaine, like bad. And Whitney even admitted on the stand, they asked her if she was sober, and she was like, yeah, for like once in my life or something like that. She was like, yeah, for like once in my life because it was actually the morning and I had just woken up. So Whitney admitted that she was fucked up all the time. And she was doing Johnny's coke all the time. And they were all freeloaders living in all Johnny's penthouses. And there's a lot of people sticking up for Amber Heard saying, oh, well, that Amber, that the UK trial, read the UK trial. The UK trial spells it all out. Johnny lost the UK trial. all of Johnny's witnesses in the UK trial were not allowed. And a lot of his evidence wasn't allowed. So, for instance, the 2 police officers who responded to the penthouse after that big fight, they weren't allowed in the UK trial because they didn't take notes. The front doorman wasn't allowed because he only saw Amber for 2 minutes down at the front desk and couldn't be able to see a bruise in 2 minutes. That's what the judge said. So she excluded the front door guy. The security guy, he was excluded because he accidentally fumbled his dates. Kate James, her personal assistant, was excluded because she felt like she was a disgruntled employee, so she excluded her. She excluded Johnny's bodyguard from testifying because she said Johnny's bodyguard was loyal to him and that she believed Josh Drew, Raquel's, and Amber's account over that guy, and that they were credible witnesses, even though they're loyal to Amber Heard. So I don't know how that makes sense. Then there was another lady, Caitlin something, where Amber went to a birthday party the next day and she saw nothing on her face. She was excluded. And there was another woman who was also Amber's personal assistant that was excluded, who's seen her every day after the incident with no marks on her face. Her stylist was excluded, who didn't see any marks on her face. Oh, I could go on forever. I mean, literally, the judge in the UK gutted Johnny's case. Completely gutted it. Like, totally gutted it. Didn't allow anything. He said, that the recordings of Amber admitting to punching Johnny held no weight. And then Amber lied to the judge and showed him a picture of a door and said that the door was broken during like a Bahamas fight, when really the door was from LA, and the judge said he didn't care and that it was peripheral. Also, what was the other thing? There was so much. The judge was just had to be biased. It made no sense. He literally excluded everything that was in favor of Johnny. Everything. Like, I don't even know. Johnny had no chance in that case. None. There was so much stuff. I mean, they just totally screwed him in that case. Nothing was allowed. But everything of Amber's was allowed. It's so bizarre. Oh, and that psychiatrist, the kooky psychiatrist that called Johnny an idiot, he totally broke the Goldwater rule. Let me show you what the Goldwater rule is. So, you know how he started going on and on about Johnny having like narcissistic personality disorder, and then he read off those stupid fucking reasons that made no sense. That he was full of himself because he was eating candy, and so basically, if a psychiatrist is asked to be an expert in a public media case, they're not allowed to diagnose somebody without seeing them first. Like, they have to be a patient first before they can diagnose somebody. And he was literally diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. It is very, very difficult to work for or be friends with someone who has a personality disorders like AH has. Maybe Amber was sending texts from Johnny's phone while he was passed out. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. And you know what? I believe she totally slipped up when she said that bruise kit thing. She said, "Oh yeah, I use a bruise kit." I mean, a concealer, something concealing kit. And there's literally, if you work in theater, there's bruise kits. I need a drink of water. Sorry, I keep coughing because my mouth is getting dry. But they have these bruise kits where you can paint bruises on your face with makeup. They have like all the colors in a makeup thing. And in one of the pictures of him sleeping, it almost looks like there's a bruise kit sitting there. Hold on. Let me show you guys. Please be the whole picture. No. I gotta find the full picture. Hold on. Johnny Depp. Let's just look up Bruce Kit. I'm sure we can find it. Darn it. All right, Twitter it is. Twitter it is. High-end Bruce kits are even waterproof. Yeah. I think she really meant a Bruce kit. All right, hold on. Let me share my screen so y'all can see this if you have it.
Like a Bruce kit. But not a Bruce kit, it's a theater makeup.
Queen, did you mean this theater makeup bruise kit? It's literally called Bruise and Abrasions. It's for theater, and it's meant to make bruises, sweet girl. You mean this one? It's meant to make fake bruises? Is that what you meant? Give me 1 second. I'll show you what I mean. See? Bruise kit. Bruise kit, Queen. This one? Where you make the bruises? Oh, this one? Theatrical bruise kit? You knew exactly what you were saying, honey. You knew you weren't covering up anything. You were making something. We all know. We all know.
Hold up. I gotta find the picture.
Not a Bruce kit, it's a theater.
All right, ready? All right, look right here. See that? Let me see if I can zoom in for you all. All right, you see right there? It's like yellow, brown, purple, and like reddish pink color. There you go. There's a zoom in. See it? All right, and here. This is the kit right there. It's literally a kit to make bruises. Just saying. Yeah, he was instructed. His job was to instruct people to go when she filed the TRO and to make sure they got a photograph of the right side of her face as there would be a bruise. So she literally set that shit up. When Elaine asked if narcissists eat candy and Jenny's lawyers both reach over and grab jelly beans. That was great. That guy was so, I mean, like, they just get the goofiest witnesses ever. I can't. The guy looked like the dude from Rick and Morty. He really looked like the guy. He looked like a cross between Doc Brown and the guy from Rick and Morty. Oh, man. It was funny. I was cracking up with that dude. They wrecked him. Oh, and Miss Curry came back. I love her. She's a queen. She's one of my favorites. Her and Camille Rock. I'm trying to think who else was there. Yesterday. Why can't I think of anyone? They had such good witnesses the past 3 days. Oh, no, this is what I wanted to say. Jennifer Howell. I was so excited about that witness. Like, so excited. I could not wait for them to bring out the letter and talk about the letter, about how she told Whitney not to perjure herself and Amber abused her. And they didn't even talk about it. I know they don't need to because it's in evidence, but man, I really wanted them to ask Whitney about it, and I wanted to talk more with Jennifer Howell. I waited weeks for that. They didn't do it. I gotta sneeze. Hold on, guys. Oh, wait, never mind. I think it's going away. Oh, you think she will secure the bag? No. I don't think he might not either. It's really hard to prove defamation. But I think Johnny already won the public public opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I think he doesn't need to win because he got, like, he succeeded in doing what he did, like, he needed to do with the public. He didn't want the public to think he was an abuser, and most people don't. So, you know, I think either way, it's a win for him. But H's PR guy stuck the social media journalist IG channel for expose. Wow, really? I heard that they were like Amber Heard's team was like trying to scare people too. Like people, didn't someone like try and break in Jennifer Howell's house or her job or something? I know. I'm surprised they was taking Umbrella Guy down. How funny was that when he got called? His name got called out in court. That was so funny. Yeah, I'm surprised his channel's still up. But they totally called him out in court. That was hilarious. Like, the Umbrella Man. Oh, yeah, that's right. The guy from Hicksville. That's who came up. The guy from Hicksville, where they have that little, like, trailer park getaway place. And he came up. And he said something about schizophrenia. Wait, who has multiple DUIs? Is it the Umbrella Guy? Or the other dude? That's crazy. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna hop off because it's been like 2 hours. And I think I'm gonna take some Benadryl. It'll probably make me sleepy. So, thank you all for coming. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like my video for me. I appreciate you all so much. Have a good night, everyone. Oh, before I go, that's pretty crazy. Good night, Smoke Queen. Yeah. Thanks, Captain Kangaroo. I've watched some of your videos. I think you crack me up. Good night, guys.